Hello everybody. Welcome back to Guydude Reviews. Today we're going to review DTLegendz-XD. DTLegendz is one of, if not my favorite scratcher. His projects are super crazy and funny, but he doesn't post on Scratch anymore because, unfortunately, all his accounts were blocked. But in a community post, he said that he was in an undercover account, which I obviously don't know. So today, I'm gonna rank 10 of his best projects. There are some rules in the description though. Without further ado, let's go.
Scratch Cat's biggest injury.
Fun fact, this was the first project I ever watched from Dylan, so I might be a little biased with this one. But this is still a good video. The plot is that Scratch Cat, while on his way home, steps on a purple spike named Froggo. This causes him to get injured easily while he's trying to go to school for his exam. These injuries are gruesome but kind of cool at the same time. Also, when I rewatched this video, my brother pointed out he took the pain like a man. At the end, he beats him with anti-injury spray, which is pretty lame but kind of funny. There is one problem with this video. The ending, where Scratch Cat fails his exam simply because he missed it. This makes the exam part of the episode completely pointless. And on a side note, I hate the teacher character Diva. Seriously, her only joke is failing the students. But other than that, an overall creative and good video. Let's move on, shall we?
Coral explodes.
This might be controversial, but I like this episode. Oh, come on. Some of the comments on this project hated John. Why? Because he killed Coral, even though he didn't do it on purpose and had no intent to murder. I think the main reason some people hate this episode is simply because Coral is popular. What happens is Coral simps for John as usual. So John gives her 6 reasons why he doesn't love her. Since John is my favorite character, seeing him stand up to Coral after all the things she's done is super refreshing. When John finishes, Coral cries so much she explodes. Overall, this is one of the most satisfying DTLegendz videos.
Nanos musical burp.
While I'm not a huge fan of gross jokes, this is one of the funniest DTLegendz projects. The plot is that Nano ate a non-copyrighted song and him burping sounds like the song. Really weird, right? But it's actually funny seeing Nano getting louder and Pico getting angrier. Something about the sound is so hilarious. Then Pico gets the song out and Nano starts crying that sounds like a song. This video is so dumb but hilarious at the same time.
Gus's bad driving skills.
Another hot take I have for Dylan. I find the Gus can't do things videos to be very boring and repetitive. But this one is an actually good one. The plot is that Gus is taking his second driving test. And on a side note, why doesn't Gus have a driving teacher when he's in the car? Isn't driving as a student without a teacher illegal? But besides the aforementioned plot hole, this episode is pretty funny. When Gus takes his second driver's test, he went out of control and started crashing into random objects/people. The funniest crash has to be the one with Scratch Cat's statue. At the end, he crashes into a giant drum, so his car explodes, which was a funny joke until Dylan started overusing the explosion. Overall, a funny video that ended up starting a bland series.
John's abnormal nightmare.
Since we're on the topic of series videos, let's talk about the videos where a character has a crazy dream, or as I like to call it, the Dream series. Videos in this series include Gobo's Insane Dream, Gus' Bizarre Dream, etc. And this series is a mixed bag. While most of them are average, some of them I hate, but some are good. But I'm talking about the best episode, John's Abnormal Nightmare. This episode does so much different and crazy things instead of those boring old gags. The background breaks into pieces, then John runs into Gus, who becomes a dinosaur. That literally happened. He later runs into Edward, who scares him, which causes him to fly to space. And at the end, instead of that bland space shark gag, there's Coral in space. This episode is full of creative gags. The only jokes I didn't like were John screaming after anything weird happened, and that annoying joke when a random object comes to life and says the person near them is their father or whatever. This joke wouldn't have been as annoying if it wasn't so overused. But other than that, this video is the best out of the Dream videos.
Scratch Cat's random, stupid, and crazy adventure.
We're already halfway through the list, So this is Dylan's attempt at an interactive video, and this is pretty cool. I don't want to spoil anything for you, so if you want to know, you can play it. While there are some funny things about this, the only part I didn't like was Edward, who was just being a stupid rage quitter. I know that's his personality, but it's not funny here. I'm not going to say what he does because, like I said before, I won't spoil it. But if you know, you know. Ignoring Edward, this video is pretty impressive.
The Scratch Race Tourney.
Ah, the project we all know and love. The Scratch Race Tourney. In case you don't know, this is the most popular video on Dylan's channel. And while not the best video, this video is pretty iconic. The plot is that there's a race between Scratch Cat and some other characters. The animation here is great. Not top tier, but you get my point. And I like the Mario Kart references in this too. The project is pretty hilarious, especially the part where Gobo breaks his car at the end. While the ending was predictable, with Scratch Cat winning. This is one of his most impressive videos.
The Evil Crybaby Part 3.
Wow. Another super satisfying project. This episode is the third episode of the Evil Crybaby trilogy. What happens in this series is, Coral thinks she's being lied to. Because Siki said Scratch Cat and Pico didn't steal her PS4, in a far worse episode. So Coral becomes an entity named Carul, and does the evilest things like trapping people in cages and just leaving them there. But besides that small nitpick, this series is pretty great. While parts 1 and 2 were good but nothing special, part 3, the finale, was a great way to end off this series. What happens is, after Scratch Cat frees John from his cage, he hears a sound from Siki's house, so he goes in to see what it's about. And when Carul threatens him, Scratch Cat gives Coral a long and satisfying reason you suck speech. In case you don't know, a reason you suck speech, according to TV tropes, is someone delivers a speech to another character on all the reasons why that other character sucks or is a horrible person, and it's done really well here. After Scratch Cat's done with his speech, Coral, in Carul form, realizes all her wrong ways. So she turns back to normal and apologizes to Siki. Now you'd think after she left Siki and others in cages, plus, the fact she changed the house from looking like this to this, Siki wouldn't forgive Coral or possibly even ban her from her house.
Nope.
She lets her stay despite what she did. I don't actually hate this ending. It's good but a bit anticlimactic. Also, I have something to say about Coral. So if you're a Coral fan, you might get triggered by this. But, in my opinion, before this Evil Crybaby series, I completely hated Coral. Why? Because of how mean-spirited she was to Scratch Cat and Pico, even though they did nothing wrong. The only thing they did was want to play games on Siki's PS4, but Coral and Siki accused them of stealing it. But that video's for another time. Anyway, this video saved Coral from the crappy character she was before.
Scratch Cat's Addiction.
This video is pure humor. This used to be my favorite video. The plot to this is, Scratch Cat finds Pico's Kit Kat, eats it, and becomes obsessed with Kit Kats. But Pico gets mad at him because he told him not to eat his Kit Kat. Then Scratch Cat starts to consecutively eat Kit Kats. Pico gets tired of it, so he destroys his Kit Kat. 9 months later, Scratch Cat becomes so obsessed with Kit Kats he becomes one. And he turns Pico into a Kit Kat for destroying his Kit Kat. Then it's revealed to be all just a dream had by Pico. And I know that a lot of people hate the all just a dream trope, but I don't really mind it. But this video was so nonsensical and hilarious. From Pico destroying Scratch's Kit Kat to Scratch Cat becoming a Kit Kat, it's just so crazy. Before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions.
Mousehead's Toxicity.
Yep, my favorite video is Mousehead's Toxicity. This video is so creative. The craziness in this episode is amazing. The plot is, the Mouseheads start being toxic, so Scratch Cat and Pico have to stop it. Also, minor nitpick here, but their toxicity is just being annoying. Like the comment stated, Anyways, I love how it doesn't just stick to one or two characters and has lots of character interactions. At the end, it's revealed that the person behind all this is a random guy named Crabulation. Then Nano calls the smart chick and it punches Crabulation, and they bring the mouse heads back to normal. This video had a great concept and an amazing execution, while there were some plot holes, plus, not all the jokes hit. Overall, this is my favorite episode. Velp. That's all for today. In conclusion, if you haven't watched Dylan the Legends, go watch him. See you next time on Guydude Reviews.